Oh my GAD, Understanding Generalized Anxiety Disorder. Let's talk about generalized anxiety disorder, what it is, what we need to be aware of, and more than ever, what to do about it. Generalized anxiety disorder is also known as GAD. This is a term used to identify people struggling with excessive levels of worry, overthinking, and anxiety over several areas of their lives for a prolonged period of time. As its name suggests, GAD does not limit itself to one or two areas of life. It is chronic excessive worry about real life concerns, and it can be quite stressful, just like a challenging health diagnosis or a high pressure phase in our life. Chronic excessive worrying, where thoughts become distorted and worries get blown out of proportion, can spread to any area of our life, from simple life maintenance tasks like car repairs, deadlines, meal preparation, or relationship challenges, to larger concerns like health, household finances, or career prospects. Many times we get overwhelmed with GAD, we get overwhelmed with worries, and we get to a place where we feel immobilized in our life. People with GAD suffer because they cannot stop themselves from constantly worrying. Their mind races, ruminating, thinking about things over and over and over and over again, and feel as if they can't reduce the level of stress in their mind. They catastrophize and they forecast worst case scenarios. Oftentimes, it doesn't matter if it's a big problem or a small one, they find themselves feeling unable to manage the worry and the stress and the fear of worst case scenarios or bad things happening to them. It's often fueled by fear. Fear is self doubt, not believing in your ability to handle things. Generalized anxiety disorder is fueled by the fear of the unknown, that something bad will happen in the future and I won't be able to manage it, or feeling stressed by the possibility of something coming up on our plate like a problem, and we have to manage it when we're so exhausted and incapable of managing our own day-to-day life, we can't even simply imagine another thing on our plate that will stir us up and we have to deal with. So many times people fear their safety, security, ability to manage, or ability to just move forward from something problematic that enters their lives. After 9/11, that shook the world, and fears of our safety and security came up for many people. People with GAD started having more worries about their safety in the world, their family's safeties, wondering if the world was a safe place, and they were triggered oftentimes with generalized anxiety about the world, their safety, their livelihood. Likewise, the global pandemic of COVID has shaken the very foundations of people around the world. People are justifiably worried about real life concerns like health, well being of families, friends, businesses, finances, and communities. And they struggle with the fear of the unknown, not knowing the next moment. This showed up out of the blue, and many times we're worried about the next thing showing up too. As vaccines offer hope and eventual end to COVID and the pandemic, people are still left struggling with the unknown and unprecedented times that are coming ahead, and the troubling symptoms of their generalized anxiety are increasing. They are troubling symptoms, as adults suffering from GAD find themselves exhausted, on edge, moody, irritable, unable to stop their racing negative thoughts, unable to put themselves to bed at night because their mind starts to wander to all these thoughts of dread, impending chaos, and imagining worst case scenarios that could happen. They are irritable and lack patience with themselves as well as others. They become hard on themselves, hard on their skill set, feeling less than. A lot of self-dislike enters the picture. They often experience troubling physical symptoms like sleep difficulties, muscle tension and aches, heart palpitations, headaches, insomnia. They experience restlessness and can have difficulty concentrating to stay on task or staying present. They draw a blank and lose their train of thought often, find themselves in mid-conversation losing focus. Many children that suffer from generalized anxiety tend to doubt their ability to complete tasks and perform in social situations or presentations or sports or games or engaging in just other childlike play activities. They doubt themselves and they don't know if they have the skill set to handle things, or they worry about things coming out of order. and ruining their structure of a day and not knowing if they could handle that. When our worrying becomes problematic, we need to take charge. During COVID, excessive worrying and focusing on bad news of the day has become a very normal part for many people. Many of my patients stop watching the news or limit at least how much exposure they have to it. Social media has, exploded with the mounting conflicts and conspiracy theories and showing out there, in a worst case scenario of things getting worse. Oftentimes, media coverage can fuel our worries about the future, make us think about worst case scenarios. Many people have found themselves mounting up more and more fears and imagining more and more worst case scenarios within their own family units or in the world. It is natural to worry, don't get me wrong, but when your worry starts to hinder and limit your life tasks of work, social intimacy, self-care, spirituality, then we got to worry about it. We got to worry about it accurately by doing some actionable steps to treat it. GAD sufferers worry to a point where they feel out of control of their thoughts. They're constantly thinking things over and over and over again, and this becomes problematic with our relationships, how people handle us, and it diminishes our quality of life not only physically, but mentally, and our relationships around us at work or at home. It really is our thought that counts. When it comes to conquering GAD, it is about your thoughts. Our thoughts are quite powerful. Our thoughts, whether they are positive or negative, shape our lives. Positive thinking propels us forward, while negative thoughts feed our fears and causes pain and suffering. Tackling generalized anxiety involves conquering our fears by challenging our negative thoughts and replacing negative thoughts with more adaptive, positive ones. We need to challenge our negative automatic thoughts of low self-worth and a loss of faith in our ability to handle life's challenges. We need to explore the probability versus the possibility of imagined worst-case scenarios. All of us have a tendency to know everything is possible in life. But is it probable? Is it likely to happen? We need to explore this accurately. Many times we fuel and give weight to distorted negative beliefs and thoughts, and then that takes over our physical symptoms and negative thoughts, and we tend to worry about things that could happen, but they're not likely to happen. Do we need to invest in thoughts that are not likely to happen? As the world returns to normal and reopens to some sort of a normal, it is really important that we start bringing in compassion for ourselves and others. We need to also pause and reflect in this mindful moment today to look at, am I really worrying about things that could happen or things that I should be investing time and energy in? Or am I excessively worrying about trouble, some things that could happen, fears of the future, not being able to cope and manage? Maybe we need to start exploring our self-esteem and our capabilities and give ourselves credit for how much we've handled in life. That is a skill too, being able to trust your ability to handle things. That is many times what a therapist does with many patients, helps them feel the ability to have hope and trust their skill set to manage whatever shows up. We need to remember there's always hope. And above all else, we need to realize that we've handled so much in life that we will handle whatever else pops up. We need to tell ourselves that this is a moment in time and the moment will pass. But first of all, the first step to treatment and healing is awareness. And so let's take this mindful moment right now to breathe in and out and just have awareness of the quality of our thoughts. Are they worrisome? Are they excessive in their worries? Do I have a dread of my future, dread and fear of the unknown, and anxiety related to things that I'm worried about? Let's explore this. Let's take a mindful moment right now. Let's take a deep inhale in and breathe out. Another deep inhale in and breathe out. Allow yourself to relax and pay attention by reflecting inwards on what we've been speaking about. Do I have a tendency to worry about worst case scenarios? Do I tend to find myself racing with worries, thinking about things over and over and over again? Am I having physical symptoms that come from excessive thoughts and worries? Let's take a moment to reflect. on where our mind tends to be most of the time or all the time. Let's take a deep inhale in again and breathe out. And take this mindful moment to relax into pondering a little bit about today's topic. As I gently welcome you back from this mindful moment, let's remember that there is always hope. And we need to remember everything is possible, but the probability is not as high if you really explore the probability of how bad things can get. We've handled life so far, and we've handled it well. And we've gotten through situations that we never could have imagined getting through. We need to tell ourselves that this is a moment in time and the moment will pass when things go wrong, and also trust our skill set to work through the situations as you have always worked through situations. Conquering generalized anxiety. No matter how entrenched we may be in the excessive worries and feelings of dread and anxiety, there is always ways out of generalized anxiety disorder. Here are some strategies to help you conquer GAD. Be aware of the signs of GAD: prolonged incessant worry and ruminations, insomnia, headaches, muscle tension, and an inability to concentrate are signs of trouble. Your mind thinking about the same thing over and over and over and over again, not being able to put our worries aside and be able to focus on the task at hand. Remember, identifying a problem is the first step to a cure. Bring in compassion for yourself and others, as many people out there in the pandemic are struggling with chronic excessive worry right now and are fearing their livelihood, health, or health of others that they love. Understand that when the world returns to some sort of a normal, that there is a very strong likelihood that your excessive worries and troubles may not go away on their own. We may need help, and so exploring treatment or therapy as an option to help you work through concerns that feel out of control is important. Explore relaxation techniques like deep breathing, yoga, and meditation to help quiet the mind and restore the body with relaxation, but also become in a place of acceptance. Noticing whatever thoughts are coming up, we don't have to get rid of them or fix them. Sometimes we just have to be present with whatever's showing up and give ourselves space to hold ourselves in that with compassion. Expand and examine the probability versus possibility of worst case scenarios taking place. Yes, everything is possible, but no, many times the probability is not as high as we sometimes magnify for situations happening to us. Challenging negative thoughts and restoring your faith in your ability to handle whatever comes your way is the key to conquering the anxiety about the future. No matter what you worry about, I think more than investing time in your worries, you need to invest time in recognizing the skill set you have to work through whatever shows up. Remember that this is the moment in time and the moment will pass. Fear is not believing in your skill set to handle things. Remember that so far you've managed all the challenges that have come your way. Remember that life is all about making your faith bigger than your fear, believing in your skill set versus doubting it. Seek help if you are unable to regain the control of your thoughts and fears. If it feels that excessive and it's hindering your sleep and quality of life, you need to look into treatment. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, has proven to be an effective treatment for mood and anxiety disorders.